Okay, so I'm going to try to do voiceover for this video. I've been getting a lot of recommendations to add some voiceover, so I'll give it a try. This job was a 40-foot Mainship that caught fire overnight in the mooring field off Spectacle Island, which is one of the harbor islands out in Boston Harbor. Here we are, we have 3 boats, actually I think 4, and we're heading to the area where the boat was. At this point it was completely submerged. The boat caught fire, everything above the gunnels was torched. At low tide you could see part of the boat, but here we are, we're looking on the GPS and looking at our tracks from where we were, and I actually spotted a mooring ball below the water line. So it was underwater and the boat was sunk sitting on the bottom and was pulling the mooring ball down with it. So I zoomed the camera in here and you can see the mooring ball there, right? See that white dot right off the window on the port side there. So the mooring ball was underwater, and so we had found where the boat was sunk.
It's under the water right there. Do you see the mooring ball under the water?
Okay, so now I am getting into my wetsuit, and what we're going to do first is take the tow line from one of our bigger boats, and we're going to tie off to the mooring ball that is attached to the sunk boat. So I'm going to get in the water, I'll tie the tow line off. They have an anchor set, and then we'll have the ability to be backed up right against the boat with the work boats, which makes it easier to load gear in and out of the water.
You got it, Nate? Are you clear of that, Nate?
Yeah.
All right.
All places. Just go to Lake Boston for a safety marine information broadcast. Turning divers in the vicinity of the Spectacle Island mooring field. Listen 22 Alpha 157.1 megahertz out.
How's the water?
Okay, so now we are tied up to right where the boat is sunk. We have the sterns facing out. We can load gear in the water. Myself and another coworker are getting suited up into our dive gear, and we're going to go in, and what we're going to try to do first is to kind of assess what it looks like down there, if there's anything at all that we'll be able to tie the lift bags to, and go from there and kind of make a plan when we come up and report what we see to the guys that are out of the water. Okay, so I'm getting in the water here. I have my GoPro, and I notice immediately that the visibility is terrible. That can affect a job when you're trying to look for things you can tie to, but in this case, there was absolutely nothing left of the boat on the inside. It might be hard to see from this video, but everything from the gunnels in was just a mess of fiberglass and metal and, you know, all the things that were in the boat that burned up and whatever was left. And it was really, really tough to see anything that we could tie to. I mean, we have to attach the bags to get the boat off, and we have to try to tie to something secure. And there was just nothing that we could get to. Right now I'm swimming along what's the port side of the boat, and you can see the fiberglass strands and the bow the rails on the side were all detached, everything delaminated. That's part of a bimini, I think. And I'm looking for anything that we can get to attach some bags. Trying to see if we can get to the rudders, if we can get to the shafts. Unfortunately, right now, the boat was just sitting down on the bottom and kind of stuck in the mud. So we couldn't get to anything secure. That's a piece of the swim platform. There you can see the bottom. And I'm just looking for, if we can we get under the rudders? Can we get in front of the rudders? And trying to see how we can get the boat off the bottom so that we can rig more bags to stabilize the boat enough to pump it out. So that's what this video was all about. And as you can see, the visibility is bad, so I decided to not bring the GoPro down on any of the dives where we were attaching any of the bags, because it would have just stirred up a bunch of stuff and we wouldn't have been able to see anyway. But here you can really see some of the damage. There's the starboard corner of the boat, and I'm looking underneath. I think I reached my hand under to reach for the rudder or the shaft to see if I could grab it, but I couldn't. So now I'm going up the starboard side of the boat. There's another railing. This is just the inside of the boat. Everything is just destroyed and burned, fiberglass and metal. It was a mess. There's some, I don't know what that was, frame of some sort of bimini or cover. And And just swimming up the starboard side. And then eventually get to the surface. There's a bag that the other diver I worked with rigged, maybe to try to lift the bow up. But that was the extent of the GoPro footage for this job. These next clips are hard to see what's going on. I had my 360 camera on one of the boats, and then we ended up moving them around, so it wasn't in the best spot. But what's happening here is we're rigging bags on the bow of the boat. At the time, the bow pulpit seemed like it was still intact. It was kind of the only area of the boat that was not just completely destroyed. So our plan was to tie a couple bags to the bow, lift the bow enough that we could get under the boat to get to the shafts, and then tie another set of bags to the shafts to lift, to level the boat off, and then we could kind of assess from there. And here you see the bow bag, one of them anyway, coming up. But what eventually happens is the damage was so severe that as we were inflating the bow bags, the pulpit delaminated from the hull a bit, and the boat went back down on the bottom. So right now, everything looks good for us. The bow's coming up, the bags are inflating, but very shortly after this, the bags kind of pop up a bunch, and we knew that that was because the pulpit had delaminated and the boat went down, but the pulpit kind of stayed up. So that's what you're seeing here in this clip. Now you'll notice the bags are way up out of the water. They're right on the surface because what happened was, like I said, we had tied them to the bow. We lifted the bow a bit, but then the strain of the weight of the boat on the bow delaminated, and so we had to come up with a new plan. While I was down there kind of investigating through all the burned up inside of the boat, I saw a glint of blue metal, and I thought, okay, maybe that's an engine. So I kind of dug around a little bit, and it ended up being the engine. So what we're going to do to try to lift the boat enough to get more stabilizing bags on is we're going to tie a big set of 6,000-pound lift bags to one to each engine. And so that's the plan. So I come out, tell them that we can tie to the engines. I switch my scuba tank. I think at this point I was out of air. And then we go back in and we rig the engine bags. Okay, so now I believe we have the engine bags rigged. Again, I didn't bring the GoPro down for that part because there was such a mess. Everything was getting so churned up that you couldn't see anything. But now if you look, so those are those bow bags in the front there, the brown ones. But if you look behind, you can see a couple bags come up. And those are the bags that we tied to the engine that we were able to lift the boat up enough to get to the propeller shafts. And once we got to the propeller shaft, so now you can see the yellow bag there on the left of your screen. That's one of the engine bags. The gray one is the one on the right engine. And then there's two more bags you can see in the back. And so what we did was we had two bags, one on each engine. Then we had two bags, one on each propeller shaft. And that was enough to get the boat starting to come up out of the water. And then we tied another set of bags to the about a midship of the boat to kind of keep the whole thing coming up as one unit and not, bow first or stern first. So what you're seeing now kind of in fast motion is those bags getting rigged and the adjustment of air in those bags to kind of bring the boat up as one level unit. And the idea is that once you can get the boat above where the gunnels are above the water line, then you can pump the boat out and have it floating on its own, or if you need to with the help of the bags, but floating enough to get it to where you can haul the boat out. So now we have the boat kind of the way we want it. It's coming up out of the water, and the next step we need to do is to start getting the pumps ready to dewater the boat. So as the boat comes up, it's filled with water, and we need to dewater it so that it'll come up out of the water more. And then once it's stable enough, then we'll try to tow it to where we're going to have it hauled out. Okay, so now the boat is up out of the water. We can get pumps in the boat and start to dewater. So this next part is going to be us coming alongside, getting the gas-powered pumps going, dewatering the boat enough to get it higher up out of the water so we can safely tow it to Marina Bay where the boat will get hauled out.
Yep.
So the remaining portion of the video is going to be towing the damaged vessel to Marina Bay for a haul out. And once we get to Marina Bay, getting it on the travel lift getting it out of the water onto the trailer, and then the trailer taking the boat away. A little bit of breaking down gear at the end, but the technical part of the video in terms of the salvage is done, and now it's just towing the boat to the travel lift, getting it out of the water, and getting the boat on its way to the scrapyard, I assume.